He called it then his Son, and he sunk it in us, all of us. When he brings it forth, and it that is brought forth is our Son, then who will be? Dwell upon it. And when I see it, it's my Son. But it was his in the very beginning of time, and it's my Son, and in the beginning it was his, then who am I? You get it? If God has a Son, his first creative act, these are the words, God created me at the very beginning of his way. I am the first of his acts of old, before he brought forth the heavens, before he brought forth the earth. When there were no depths, I was with God. Before he set boundaries to the waters, before he did anything, I stood beside him as a little child, and I was daily his delight. Is it that God put into us? Were we the flowers that I saw? These stationary things, and God sunk in us his first creative act, and yet in us detached from that heavenly bliss of innocence, and to fall into this state. Now the one who brought us forth, called Jehovah, do you know one of the meanings given to Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in Strong's Concordance? It is stated as a self-existent being, but he is called He-Vav-Heh, which is the root of the word Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, is the one who fell. It was God who fell, or causatively, the one who causes to fall. And so here, it was God who fell. You didn't fall. You had no choice in the matter. You were stationary. You were, for God's infinite purpose, detached from innocence and sent into a world of experience. And passing through the horrors of experience, you awakened as God, a fully blown, eternal imagination. And so here, He-Vav-Heh, the root of the verb, is one who causes to fall, one who blows, and causatively, one who causes the wind to blow. So I will tell you with the poem, all things in eternity were shown us, all was foretold. Not could we foresee, but we learned how the wind would sound after these things should be. So I had no knowledge in eternity that this thing was literally true until it began to happen in me. And so I read the same thing that you read. I read what the scholars, but I'm not a Greek scholar, I'm not a Latin scholar, I'm not a Hebrew scholar. I know a little of each. I know a little Hebrew, a little Greek, a little Latin, just enough to look up a word, but I really don't know these sounds. So if the great scholars who can speak in these sounds cannot bring themselves to say that God, although the word tells you it's a lad, it's a stripling, it's a youth, and they cannot, in translating that word in Ecclesiastes, say God put a lad in the mind of man. They have to say God put eternity in the mind of man. And I tell you, he put a lad there. But the lad he put there, his first creative act, which was his Son, he now plants in us, and he brings him forth, as told us in the book of Samuel. When you sleep with your fathers, I will raise up your son after you, who will come forth from your body. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. He comes forth, and I am his father. Well, if I am his father, then who am I? When he was God's son. That's how God gives himself to us. So God's purpose is to give himself to man as that man, and that man as God. And the only way he can do it is to give that man his Son. So no one knows who the Father is except the Son. That's what we're told in the book of John. No one knows the Father but the Son. So first I see the Son, then he put that Son into my being in the beginning of time, when he detached me from the world of innocence, the world of love, and sent me through the furnaces of experience. And then when I was completed in God's eye, he brought forth his Son. In bringing forth his Son, he brought me forth as himself. And there I saw his Son. And his Son is my Son. Therefore God made me one with himself. So I say that story is true of every being in the world.